Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Light travels faster than sound. This is why some people appear very bright until you hear them speak. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Monday. Good morning, good morning. I love that lady. Love that song. God bless America. And I certainly hope he will continue to do so in the future. A lot of things to worry about. But we're going to have a look at the news and all different stories this morning on Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And, of course, our dear friends at Western Way Services. Do not forget them. Kelly and the rest of the crew, 734-6969. This program blessed with a lot of good help, right here in this office. My lovely bride Deanne, and over at the main studios, could not, would not, don't want to do the program without her. Gina Jameson, good morning.
Oh, good Monday morning to you, and happy daylight savings.
No. I don't like daylight saving time.
I know. You and I were talking prior to the show how we feel like we've been robbed of an hour.
I don't feel as strongly about being robbed of an hour of sleep as I do. It just, honestly, I guess for the lack of better terminology, messes up my body clock.
It messes up my body clock, but honestly, I feel robbed.
Yeah.
I really do. But it was a good weekend, and we're here, and we've got a busy show ahead of us.
We do, and if I could ask a favor, is there any way you could bump the feed line up just honestly a touch, just a little touch to me?
Is that a little bit better for you?
Yeah, it is. I appreciate that very much.
Not a problem.
Now, as usual, I don't have to tell you anything about the schedule. You got it memorized. Do we have a Pledge of Allegiance person?
We have Mr. Al Butler on for the pledge, and Michael Rogers on for the weather.
The old door opener is here. Good morning. Say the pledge, please.
And I have been warned, do not cause any turbulence this morning on your program. Period.
All right, go ahead, Al, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Al, you're a news junkie, and honestly, over the weekend, the stories there was just one after another that I tried to jot down and make notes on. I have never seen, and I hate to start off this morning by being negative, but it's a fact. You got to report the facts. This world is in a very turbulent situation.
I know it is. And until we get some people back in Washington to get off their dead hind ends and start doing the job that they swore the oath to do and uphold when they took office. If they can't do the job, I ask them to retire, get the hell out of the government, and leave us alone and let us go back to the way we used to be.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you, my very dear friend. Say hello to your lovely bride, and we'll talk to you later.
And I will not cause any more havoc.
Just don't back into any more doors.
Right.
Okay, thank you. All right. Time for the weather, the great, and I mean that, Michael Rogers weather. Here he is. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. You are so kind. The Magic Valley of South Central Idaho, the only place I've been to now where all the climates, all the seasons, for some reason, I don't know why, everybody gets started early. You got a spring pattern. that's going on right now. It's not even springtime yet. But then again, too, for the last 7 years since I lived in the Magic Valley, every time we come up to summertime, we always started summer 3 weeks early. So that being said, where am I going with this? It's going to be rainy. It's going to be windy. It's going to be wet today. It's going to carry over into tonight, taper off tonight. Then it'll be just basically sun, clouds, and windy conditions for tomorrow. 57 for the daytime high. Currently it's 51 degrees in Murtaugh. 39 for the overnight low, 39 for the overnight low tomorrow night, and 55 for the high tomorrow. Otherwise, got some rain for today. It'll shut itself off tonight, and you'll have windy conditions with sun and clouds tomorrow. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you can.
Thank you very much. Michael Rogers Weather right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you so much. Well, quick reminder, coming up this next weekend, March 13th at 7 p.m., free will offering for the Keepers of Faith Quartet. They're going to be at the Apostolic House of Prayer, 100 East Baseline in Rupert. Excellent singers, and they're going to be there this next weekend on the 13th. Let me see here real quick. What else have I got to take care of fast? No, it's not going to be this next weekend. If I meant to say Thursday night, pardon me. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, and everybody knows that has gone in there that there is absolutely no better cleaner on anywhere in the world except Darrow's Cleaners. They really take care of your rumply crumplies, all your drapes and your curtains and your tablecloths, anything that needs cleaning. Please stop in. We've been going in there for a long time, and they are the best, and we appreciate them. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And while we have the chance, I also want to acknowledge another business that has been so good to us, and the service is impeccable. I mean, they really do a great job. And they've got a customer referral program that if you refer a customer to SafeLink Internet, you'll receive $39.95 credit to your account, and I'm telling you, you get a bunch of those lined up, and it's going to be freebie city for you. Say, hey, get a hold of them today, and let these people know, let your neighbors know about Idaho's #1 choice in high-speed internet. It's SafeLink Internet. Call them today, get on the program, 677-8000. SafeLink Internet, the best. Thank you very much. I don't even know where to start this morning. There's a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to kind of give a rundown of some of the top news stories that are absolutely disconcerting as to what's going on. Number one, the news over regarding the Malaysian Flight 370. As of this broadcast, still looking for signs other than oil slicks of where the plane might have gone down so that they can start maneuvers to hopefully regard and retain the black box with the information. 250 people on board that flight, including the crew, and no sign. And I was listening to a very good friend of mine on Fox News this morning, and he is a terror expert, as you know. We've had him on my program many times, and I'm going to try to call him and get him back on the show this week, and that's Ryan Morrow. And Ryan believes it was caused by a terrorist bomb, so that there was absolutely no communication with the ground sources of saying, hey, we have a problem with an engine, we have a problem with this, we have a problem with that. There was no contact whatsoever, and I just have nothing but sympathy for the families of all those people that were lost on Malaysian Flight 370, and just absolutely a terrible, heinous way for those people to pass away. And then the other bad thing for the families is no closure. They really right now don't know too much of where they are and where they went down. It's terribly sad. Also, a very spoiled brat. You know my feelings about kids, and I like kids that say yes sir, no ma'am, and are very polite, and parents that have raised them to be polite and to appreciate what they have. This very spoiled brat of an 18-year-old back in Massachusetts has put on Facebook, and some of the comments that she has made after the judge decided to throw her case out of court, she basically has said that the baby boomers, you and me, our generation, we are very spoiled because we saved for our retirement instead of giving the money to our children. When I heard this, I was absolutely livid with the absolute shortcomings of Social Security and the dipping into other accounts that it's very hard to save for retirement today. Our seniors are having one terrible time. And I'm of that vintage now, so I can say it's not an easy road to try to follow. And for having an 18-year-old spoiled brat, and she's nothing more than that. And there are other words I'd like to use against her. I can't, and I won't lower my standards. But she is a pathetic excuse and a pathetic poster girl for what's going with the gimme generation. How in the world can this young woman look herself in the mirror or even have a attempt, if you will, to try to rectify things with their family in the future? There is so much muddy water that has gone over the bridge right now. I don't know how this young girl can have a future of sitting down and trying to be realistic when she has children. But to say that we are at fault, we the baby boomer generation, because we save all the time instead of giving it to the kids. There they are, with their hand out. She is a perfect example of what we saw with Occupy Wall Street and everything else. And if that doesn't make you livid, I don't know what will. It's pathetic. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. My dear friend Keith Ramsey over at Ramsey Heating and Electric, they've got light bulbs. Holy cow, have they got light bulbs. They've got incandescent light bulbs. They got boxes and boxes and boxes. They have really stored up for you because the government's saying we can't use incandescent anymore. Well, I'm going to, and I bought a big box of them, 40, 60, 75, and 100 watt, and I'm going to continue to use them. The government is not coming into my home and telling me what to do. You should have the same attitude, so that's why I want you to stop into Ramsey Heating and Electric and stock up on the incandescent light bulbs. Do not be told what to do, okay? They've got them for you at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers. Time to get a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you hear about the new Homeland Security edict to our Border Patrol agents? Oh, my goodness, I can't wait to talk to Frosty Woolridge about this later on this morning. You're not going to believe this. There was an edict passed down from the hierarchy of Homeland Security, and they are now telling our Border Patrol agents, if illegal aliens show combative attitudes, in other words, they're mad and they're going to try to throw rocks at you or whatever, back away. Back away. In other words, put your tail between your legs and run away. Do not show aggression or use your firearms. Just back away and let them come on in. Ladies and gentlemen, you can have a difference of opinion on the way things are being run on the border, but you can't have a difference of opinion on our borders being Swiss cheese and not being legitimized to the point where we hold people back from coming in. We don't know who they are. They could be members of drug cartels. They could be the drug lords themselves. They could be murderers. They could be terrorists. They could be anything. And all they have to do now is pick up a rock and act in an aggressive manner, and our Border Patrol agents are going to just back away? This is insane. Our Border Patrol is going to turn into nothing more than school crossing guards. Oh, well, here, let me help you across. Well, here, this path is easier over here. We'll let you in. They have to basically, all they have to do is show some aggression, pick up a rock and say, I'm going to throw this at you, Border Patrol. Well, we'll back away. We'll back away. We'll let you in. They come here illegally, act illegally, and demand that we let them in, and we do. Now, there's got to be somebody out there in Radioland that is absolutely incensed as I am over this. A gentleman by the name of Dennis Michael Lynch, excuse me, filmed some of this. He is a videographer, And he filmed some of this nonsense and was on television early this morning talking about this. What are your thoughts about our borders? This could be Al-Qaeda. Pick up a rock, threaten somebody, well, come on in, we can't have any confrontation, so just step across the border, you're here now, I can't do anything about it. This is insane. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Valley White Home and Ranch. Oh, by the way, they're going to have their big chick day. It's coming up on the 17th. Oh, my goodness, they're going to have here a chick, there a chick, everywhere a chick. Yeah. And Mandy's been busy, too. She's ordered a lot of Ariat boots, men's, women's, and kids' sizes. They got the men's boots up to the D width, and I tell you what, for the big fat foot like mine, and they've got the Montana silver jewelry. Oh, it's going to be fantastic, and all your summer and 4-H needs. Stop in. Valley White Home and Ranch. Great people. Steve, Mandy, the whole crew, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Stop in, have a cup of coffee right now at Valley White Home and Ranch. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, says that we are to be protected from invasion. It didn't say in the Constitution whether that invasion was an army or... But all these directives are in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution to protect us from invasion. How would you like to have land right along that Arizona border, within even, how many miles inland, and we run into this kind of...
Well, wait a minute. Let me just jump in there and talk to you about that. I do know a lot of people down there in that respective area, that are suffering through this. Their fences have been cut. Their cattle have been forced to wander into Mexico. They've had just absolutely terrible times trying to get their cattle back from Mexico. They've had people going into their garages and stealing things. They've had human filth on their front porches. I mean, Adrian, I do know a lot of the people down there. I know a lot of the ranchers down there, and they are they're despising what Obama is letting happen on the borders.
Yeah, and it's totally in violation of our U.S. Constitution, and the same way our property rights are just being violated at all levels, not on that level, but people that want to raise their horses up in the Sun Valley area, and then the wolf comes in, and it's the rancher's fault for having their ranch where the wolves want to be.
Well, wait a minute, stop. You just brought up an interesting question, and I've got another call. Caller, don't go away, but I want to ask you about this. Really, Adrian, with all the different stories going on across the United States, and the ambiguity of the EPA and all this other garbage with, water rights and everything, what private property rights are left for us?
Well, that's right. And see, that's the hallmark of the communism and Marxism is abolition. One of the 10 planks is abolition of private property. And Obama's doing a great job through his minions and the bureaucrats, whether it's EPA or whoever it is. This is just a frontal attack on the basic foundation of this country, private property rights, whether it's invasion from the borders or whether it's the wolves get priority over private property owners in the Haley.
Do you get my weekly newsletter?
I do.
Did you read the new one about my blog regarding the wolves in the state of Idaho?
I unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to do that. Yeah, it's on my to-do list today. I really never even turned the computer on. So, all
right, you read it. I was very, very forceful in my thinking on that front page with the wolves, and very, I think, outspoken. And I'm going to stand up for my comments. And I am, according to the news article that was in the paper this morning, I want to bring you up to speed on this. I'm going to have Jack Euler make a rebuttal on that article tomorrow morning on the program. But I'm also going to be inviting the editorial staff to come on my program. My attitude towards the wolves is becoming more callous than ever, Adrian. I think it should be a shoot to kill on sight.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the big problem that's the bottom line is they weren't native to this area to begin with. The regular native wolves were about half the size of these, big killer wolves that they put in here. And so I'm with you, and I know Don Gillette. In fact, I belong to that anti-wolf coalition that he organized, and I'm not a hunter, but I'm just for private property rights, maintaining the fact that they were brought in here illegally, and you've talked about it a lot, and I'll listen to Jack tomorrow, but the Times News always makes it sound like it's the private properties. Owners don't have the right to protect their own animals.
When I've got to wrap it up, I got another call, but I'll just say this, Adrian. If I were the owner of that colt that had been mauled and ripped and shredded, I don't blame them for going out with every gun, whether it's a .22 or whether it's a tank, going after those wolves.
I wouldn't either. No, here are the people. The one comment though, I read the whole article this morning, and it just makes your blood boil to think that. And the thing that really gets me is all the comments about, regardless of whether it's the dog shooting in Filer or someplace else, or you got all these comments coming from around the nation that are printed in the letters to the editor. Like they make it thing like it's an international thing, and it's a local thing here. But I can guarantee you, people better be aware that their private property rights hardly exist anymore.
I agree.
The regime.
I got to run. Adrian, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I doubt seriously if I'm going to give much credence to somebody writing a letter from Kentucky or New York or Illinois regarding the wolf situation in my backyard. That's frivolously stupid as far as I'm concerned. Caller, I appreciate your patience. Good morning.
Back in World War II, when the end of World War II was over, the president declared Operation Wetback. They declared deportation of all illegals. Having said that, it has been an ongoing process since then, and you can't really say Obama, which I like to say Obama for everything, but it's been going on since the Reagan era. Having said that, you or I, being Anglo-Saxon, pick up an object, whether it be a dirt clod or a stone or a gun, and you aggressively attack a federal officer or a local PD, you're going to be shot dead.
Your point, and I want to say thank you, I think your point was well taken, and I for one, I said the Obama administration for one reason this morning. I know it goes a lot further back than Obama, but I think you will concur with me that underneath this administration and underneath the laxity of what Homeland Security is and does for the safety and sanctity of the United States, I put most of the blame on the Obama administration.
Go back to the Bush era. Now, he was supposed to secure the borders. Come on, we cannot lay off.
No, I'm not. You missed my point. I agree with you. It goes through Bush 2, through Bush 1. It goes through Clinton and a lot of them. But you missed my point. The lack of aggression through the Homeland Security has been so much worse lately with the Obama administration. That was my point.
Well, the Bush administration on the border control was gutless as hell, and you know that. Everybody wants to blame Obama for
not to the point though that if they pick up a rock and show aggression, our border patrol has to run and hide. This is
a friend of mine is on border patrol down there right now, and they cannot do a damn thing to protect themselves, and that is totally wrong. They're a federal agent.
I agree.
Now, if I myself, local Rupert Burley, Twin Falls, pick up anything off the ground and act as aggression towards an officer of the law, state or county or city, they're going to shoot me dead.
I can't argue with your point. I think you and I are on the same page. This is a mess that you will concur, and I got to wrap it up and do a break here. Okay. But you will agree with me. Hold on just a second.
Oh, yeah.
You will agree with me that this is such a mess now with this insanity of telling our BP agents to back off and run. If it's not corrected soon, we're going to be like caught in a vice on the north end, up in Canada, and the south end here, and God help us, we don't know who's coming in.
Well, it has snowballed. It went from a pea-sized little snowball to a gigantic avalanche thing, and it should have been cordoned off and nipped in the bud 30, 40, 50 years ago.
I agree. Caller, I appreciate your call. Call in more often. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, I'm not trying to be rude. Please have a little patience. I'm running late. I got to get this in here real quick. I'll go fast. Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West, 203 South of Hayburn with my buddy Jim McCall. And they've got, I think he said they got like 2 semi-trailer loads of filters. They got filters for everything. And you can save as much as up to 90%. Holy cow on your filters. And they got all your chain for your wheel lines. They got all your Bubba ropes, 10% off, and they've got all your bolts, your metric and standard. They've got everything. Please, just call them. They deliver the goods, 438-8730, Travel Lube Supply. Hey, real quick, I'll be with you, caller. Here is the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
An announcement giving U.S. potatoes access to more of Mexico could come as soon as today, industry officials say. Right now, the United States can only ship potatoes into the area within 16 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border. The original agreement, signed in 2003, indicates the United States would eventually gain access into the rest of Mexico. The Mexican government is expected to publish a rule regarding importation of U.S. fresh potatoes. Once the USDA confirms a rule has been published in the Mexican Federal Register, it will respond with a rule regarding importation of Mexican potatoes to the United States. Opening the Mexican market will be a boon to spud growers in Idaho and Washington.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
You know, we've had a caller that's been very patient waiting. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you this morning, Zeb?
I'm good. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, say, I don't know, I'm sure that you're familiar with the story that Paul Harvey had about If I Were the Devil.
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
Well, anyhow, if you actually take a look at what's going on with our borders, from a politician's point of view, as Paul Harvey was looking at it from the devil's point of view, those are votes that are coming across.
Absolutely.
They are not votes right now, but when they come across, and they're illegal now, but when the day comes, and they will make them legal, well, now all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of votes that are going to be for larger government and more government. And those votes, and that's what every one of them that come across and everyone that's here, they're voting for bigger government because government is what's allowing them to do that.
Yeah, let me.
It's not people like you, Zeb, or it's not people like me. We're against them, so they're not going to vote for any of the things that we stand for.
Absolutely.
They're going to vote for bigger things.
Let me throw something else at you, and you're a very articulate man. I want to ask you this. As of this morning, New Jersey state illegals, the illegals that are in the state of New Jersey, are demanding driver's licenses, and they'll probably get them. And then let me throw this at you. It has been...
Didn't you get them in California already?
I know, but hang on just a second. We're looking at a vice again, East Coast, West Coast. But here's something else about illegality. Oregon's healthcare system says that they have signed up 4,000 illegal aliens by quote-unquote mistake. Now, are you going to buy that?
I believe they signed him up, but I don't know what mistake it was. It was very intentional.
There you go. There you go. I guess what my point is to you, sir.
Their votes. They're going to opt every one of those that sneak across the border. Eventually, one day, I had one yesterday snuck across and took out my vote. The one today is going to take out your vote, and the one tomorrow is going to take out Gina's.
I couldn't agree more, but my point is with you is that when are we going to stand up and do something? When are we going to make demands? There is no excuse, none, that my friends on the board...
We've got to get politicians in there that don't believe in bigger government and are more worried about our lifestyle than their lifestyle.
I couldn't agree more. I appreciate your call. I want you to call again. You're always welcome. Thank you very much. He said it right there. We've got to get some politicians in there with some backbone. I absolutely adhere to that philosophy. And there are some, and I'm not going to mention names on this right now, but I don't care if it's Colorado, I don't care if it's Connecticut, I don't care if it's Florida, I don't care if it's my old home state of Wisconsin. There are politicians that are so absolutely uninformed and not educated on really what's happening. And when you take this situation with the Border Patrol, we've had deaths of our Border Patrol agents, and they're in harm's way. And now basically with this edict from Homeland Security that, well, now if they show any force or any aggression, back up and run away, we have no safety. We have no security. The drug cartels know that they've got open avenues to come in here and supply this country with the filth of all the drugs. They know that they can come in now and they can do whatever they want with their gangs. And our Border Patrol agents are told basically, if they show aggression, back up and let them go. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Zeb, I think about the irony of this. Never in the history of the world has there been a leader who had a 10-mile radius to protect him. He takes 10 miles. I mean, when he goes into, like he was in he was in the Florida Keys this weekend, and they literally shut down everything so he can come and golf and hang out and waste our money. 10 miles. Never in the history of presidents has there been a 10-mile radius.
Randy, let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question right there with what you stated. And I'm being picky because I've made my point in the past. You and everybody that listens to this program knows that I cannot stand in any way, shape, or form Barack Hussein Obama. I don't like him. I don't trust him. I absolutely detest the man, and I think he's unfitted and ill-fitted for anything he does as the president. But here is a man that I put a lot of the blame on, but this problem with our borders, as one caller stated earlier, and very rightfully said, has gone back for a long time to where nobody has really paid attention to the borders. Nobody's really cared about closing the borders down, and we've got to stop the illegal infiltration. Randy, you give somebody a driver's license, what's the first thing they're going to be qualified to do?
Vote.
There you go.
And what I meant by this 10-mile thing, my point is, these poor soldiers, with the rules of engagement, whether or not on the border or over fighting the war, have no way to defend themselves, but we defend this president at a 10-mile radius. See, when we tolerate hypocrisy, people, we get what we deserve. And I just don't know, again, a government of the people, by the people, for the people won't work if we don't wake up. And it's got to be us. It's not going to be any leaders, because I see none that seem to have the you-know-what to do it.
And yet at the same time, and listen carefully to why I say this, whether it's an issue with the wolves, with the idiot and absolutely destitute mentality of the environmentalists, or whether it's an issue with Obama on the borders. Every time we speak out for common sense and the preservation and the acting of our Constitution, we get called hate mongers and bigots. Every single time, Randy.
That's right. It's just like there's a thing called concession. And when we concede and continue to compromise as people, private, sovereign individuals, we end up where we are. See, again, when we deal with public money, that's a different story. But we as sovereign individuals can run our businesses and our lives the way we see fit, and it's nobody's business as long as we're not breaking the law.
I agree. Randy, I'll tell you something. We need to clean up Dodge City. We need about, I don't know how many million Matt Dillons, but time is of essence. God bless you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Last week we had Thomas from Denny's Restaurant on my program, and I got to tell you something, folks, and this is from the heart. I do a lot of commercials for a lot of great folks, but when I talk about Thomas and the great job that his staff has done to make Zeb's Lunch Bunch feel so cordial and so welcome over at Denny's. It's absolutely the truth. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, you can go in there, and if you're having a birthday, by golly, just show them your identification, and you get to celebrate with a free Grand Slam. Absolutely. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The meals are always great. The service is phenomenal. You're going to love it. It is the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. I thought I heard
there
the
is no call.
Are you trying to tell me that I perhaps heard a fictitious cow?
Yep.
Well, I disagree. Where are you?
You're hearing things again, Mr.
I know. Don't rub it in, though, please.
You know.
Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. There's the real cow. Stand by, caller. I got to get this in quick. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, my goodness sakes, wonderful people. And locations like at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the new location with Nick and Rosie and the crew right there in Burley, going into Burley on Highway 30, 159 West, Highway 30. And they got the Doosan heavy equipment. Oh, these dudes are big, they're tough, get the job done. Loaders and excavators, most reliable, hardest working, and they got them. They got them right there. Check it out. Barry Equipment and Rental. Oh, my goodness. Asking for the opportunity to earn your business. You get a hold of them today. Barry Equipment and Rental. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. How
Yes,
are you
sir.
doing this morning?
I'm good, Tony. Thank you.
I think if you look at the situation, I think why we're having so many problems is that the Tea Party has been rejected by the GOP. And the Tea Party has a whole lot of power in this country to do things, but instead of welcoming into the fold, they've rejected him.
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely agree with you, and the Tea Party being diminished in value and being ridiculed and being actually brought down to a low level by some of the stalwart Republicans and causing the division between the modern new era of Republicans like the Rand Pauls, the Ted Cruzes, etc. I see nothing but division, and quite frankly, if they don't start to sew up the holes in the canvas, the Democrats are going to win again come November.
Oh, I think so. I think the Boehner and the rest of that bunch are just afraid of somebody else stealing their thunder.
I agree.
That's the problem we're having.
I agree with you, as always. You and your lovely wife, Mary, God bless. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for calling in, Tony.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank
Bye.
you. It is time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you this hour by Lennox, of course, with our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and, of course, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, heat pump. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is just call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money with Lennox. They sell warm winters and cool summers for a long, long time at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Here's Michael Rogers with the weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. As we start a brand spanking new week of you, me, and that wet weather, which is going to be with us for much of the day and taper off tonight and get sunny clouds tomorrow. Windy, too. For the winds out of the west, 10 to 20 miles an hour, possibly gusting to about 25. Otherwise, showers today and showers tapering off later on this evening. 51 for the daytime high. 52. You might see 55. I doubt it, but you could get up there. It will start to taper off later on this evening. 37 for the overnight low. The winds are going to also diminish sometime after midnight. Be a bit breezy tomorrow, but the clouds will go away and the sun will peek out, and you'll see a daytime high of 7. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, Michael. Brought to you by Lennox and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. My pet peeve is with the people that are always speaking Spanish wherever. If they want to do it in their domiciles, fine. But out in the public, I think they should use English.
Dal, define something for me, though. I'm not going to be that harsh and say that if they're visiting with another member of their ethnicity, then I think it's fine that they speak in perhaps Spanish. But I think when they're working at a business, etc., it should be English. Do you go along with that definition or not?
Well, in ways yes, in ways no. The other day I was coming out of the store and there were two guys standing blocking the way, talking in Spanish, or I assume it's Spanish. And it made me mad. So you know what I done? I started talking to them in Pig Latin. And you should have seen the looks I got.
Well, first of all, why were they standing in a location that was rude to block traffic in the first place? I mean, were they just trying to be obstinate and block traffic, or what was the reasoning there?
I don't think they were paying any attention.
Uh-huh.
They don't care.
Well, I'm not going to, I think you have to agree with me. We can't lump everybody together, but we can generalize and say some that do this are very rude and not assuming the right course of action. But I don't want to lump everybody into that category. I'm sure you'd agree with me.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. God bless you, my friend. Good to hear from you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I agree with Dal, though. This is the United States of America. We are an English-speaking country. And, if you want to really push this thing and say, well, yeah, but we should be open. No, we shouldn't be open. We are a melting pot into our culture. A melting pot. So, in other words, just kind of look at it as like you're making applesauce. You keep putting the apples in the top, and you keep turning the handle the old-fashioned way, and you get applesauce that's all blended together when it comes out at the bottom. Well, yeah, our way. This is an English-speaking country. And, I hear all these people say, well, yeah, but they've got a right to their other cultures and everything, but not imposed upon me, not imposed upon my costs as a taxpayer to provide all the different services in different languages, etc. That is baloney. There's another word I want to use, but I didn't. And English, of course, as you know, the number one language with all airline pilots all over the world. Now, I am sick and tired of picking up the phone and calling a business and having this taped answering machine say, if you'd like to continue, please press 1 if in English or 2 if in Spanish. I don't care. I want English. And I'm sick and tired of the taped answering machines anyway. That's another topic for another time. But this is an English-speaking country. If that offends you, good. Because I don't want the melting pot to be in so many diverse languages that we're talking in 37 different languages. We got at least 37. We have to come up with all the different print material in the different languages. Bunk. I agree with Dal. This has got completely out of hand. And the more people that cross the borders illegally, like one gentleman said earlier, they are nothing more than votes, puppet votes, for the Democratic Party. I agree. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. And by the way, what in the world is this story about Minidoka County School Superintendent Sandra Miller? And I'm going to try to get Mrs. Miller on the program tomorrow, that she told the school board that the State Department, the State of Idaho's Education Department, has deemed Hispanic is not a race, but an ethnicity? What is this story? A lovely lady sent this to me, Polly Butler, thank you so much. And this is absolute insanity. Being as Hispanic is not a race, but instead is an ethnicity. No, it's not. No, it is not. The federal government now requires youth of Hispanic ethnicity to check another race while filling out paperwork? Are you kidding me? Hispanic children can pick their own race, and they can be white, Asian, black, African American, but they cannot be Hispanic, the school board said. This is insane. And I'm going to get a hold of Sandra Miller, Minidoka County School Superintendent, and find out if she'll come on the air with me tomorrow morning, first hour, and talk about this. Ethnicity, in a nutshell, means characteristics or customs or language or history, but ethnicity is your skin color, your language, whether you're Negroid, Caucasoid, or Mongoloid. I mean, what in the world is this country coming to? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is unbelievable. Don't forget the great big spring tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And I mean serving you. They've got all the tires on sale, all the pickup, the car tires, the SUV tires, all the different tread designs, absolutely everything you're looking for. They've got batteries on sale for every need. They've got the very best in brake service, as they always do. Professional brake service, oh my goodness, over 30 years experience. And of course, they've got many of their custom wheels on sale, front end alignments, shocks and struts. It's all there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, give me a call, 436-2244. Gina, get on the air here for a second. What is going on with this story that was in, evidently, I think, the Weekly News Journal or whatever?
What story?
About how now the State Department has deemed Hispanic is not a race, but it's an ethnicity?
Isn't that the same thing?
No. 2 different things totally. And in the story that was in the paper the other day, it was said that Hispanic children can pick their race. And they can be white, Asian, black, African American, but evidently not Hispanic, because that wasn't one of the inclusions that was in the boxes to pick for.
That absolutely makes no sense, and they need to add that box.
I'm going to be calling Minidoka County School Superintendent Sandra Miller and see if she'll come on the air tomorrow morning, and we'll find out more about this, okay?
We need some clarification because, for me, ethnicity and race kind of the same thing.
Ethnicity is kind of the customs and characteristics and culture, yes. And your race is your race. I mean, there's 3 different classifications of mankind.
Yes. Mongoloid, Negroid, and Caucasoid.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
And they go to the different hair color, the different bone structure, the different facial features, etc. Well, let's just be real honest. Why are we being so vanilla on Hispanics coming into this country so that the children are told they can pick a race? What are you talking about here?
Well, this is the first that I've heard of it. I would like to know more about this, so hopefully we can get Sandra Miller back on the air, because I don't want to be vanilla. I want to be more like mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip?
Yeah.
Well, why?
I don't know, because it sounds better than vanilla.
Mint chocolate chip. I love vanilla ice cream. I love the vanilla bean ice cream. Ooh. That is good ice cream. But we'll find out more about that and try to get her on the air.
Yeah.
You know what we forgot to do?
Yes, the tip of the cup.
The tip of the coffee cup. Yes, and we have some good people to tip the coffee cup to this morning. We have Bryce Beck at Butte Irrigation. We have George and Donna Mass. Really nice people. And Kevin and Cindy over at Darrell's. So that's the tip of the coffee cup to those good folks this morning. I believe we have a call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
How are you this morning?
Upset.
Well, I understand that. I've got something to say about this Hispanic thing.
Okay.
I work with a lot of Mexicans, and I've asked them, what is a Hispanic? They don't know.
Okay. How would you define it and clarify it for us this morning? I mean, if they don't want to be called Mexicans, they don't want to be called Hispanic, what are they going to be called? Because we're Caucasian, or to some we're called honkies and whiteys, but what would you call them?
Well, I don't know, Zeb. I go along with everybody else. They have been labeled as Hispanic.
Uh-huh.
But all I'm saying is I have asked several Mexican guys from Mexico, what is a Hispanic? They don't know.
Well, I think you're looking at the derivative from Spain, if you will, ancestrally coming here from Spain and the Spanish language, and, of course, many of the attributes from Spain going into the culture in Mexico, our southern part of the North American continent. You could say a whole bunch of things, but I got to say this to you. And I think you're like me. I really don't care about being culturally correct. If they're Mexican, and that's what I'm going to leave it as, okay?
That's the way I look at it.
But, you know, to make allowances and try to be very careful with our speech, it's like the word negroid or negro. There is nothing wrong with that word. There is no slang connotation to that word, because being negroid means that you are one of the three classifications of mankind. And there's nothing wrong with that word, and I will not discontinue it.
I have nothing against that either.
All right, sir.
I definitely don't.
I just
wanted to bring this across that these guys were from Mexico.
Yeah.
Some of them, and some of them were born right here.
Yeah.
And they had no idea what Hispanic was.
Well, we're going to be going into this more when I get a chance to visit with this lady, Sandra Miller from Minidoka County School System. I feel like her hands are probably tied behind her. So thank you very much for your call this morning. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
God bless you, sir. Thank you. We've got some really interesting people coming on this morning. We've got Frosty Woolridge next hour, and then we've got Kelly Fedoruk with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Then at 10:06 this morning, as per our schedule, we are expecting to have Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North on the program for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then Ryan Horsley from Red's Trading Post talking about guns and the lack of ammunition and everything else at 10:30. Don't go away, Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be right back. Oh, my. Love that music. Morning, hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. And our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always sure to show those Western Waste Services. We care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
They are always at your disposal and doing a great job. Western Waste Services. Call them today. Get on the route service to get your garbage picked up. It's gone. It's out of there. All you have to do is call them at 734-6969. Porta potties and all the various dumpsters and various sizes. And, oh, don't forget something brand new with them. The Go Minis portable storage units. Oh, these are great for storage. I'll guarantee you. Give them a call, 734-6969. Western Waste Services. While I have just a moment, and before we get our dear friend Frosty Woolridge on the air, I also want to remind everybody about some more great people that have been so supportive of this program, and then also our lunch bunch. And that's, of course, Handsome Mortuary with our dear friend, owner-manager Joel Heward and his staff at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Their staff is always committed to upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity and working with you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one. And they always provide the utmost support and comfort in taking care of you. Please contact them today for pre-planning of funerals, information that we all should have. 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Handsome Mortuary in Rupert, serving you. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to Mondays, honestly, because I get a chance to talk to an old buddy of mine, and that, of course, is Frosty Woolridge in Golden, Colorado. Good morning, Frost. How you doing?
Well, good morning, Zeb. And, I do, too, enjoy our conversations because I think that we are moving forward with the audience across America and the people of America, and we're just Americans ourselves. And to be able to talk one American to another American, Idaho to Colorado, even if I was in Maine right now, I would enjoy our conversations just because we are Americans. And so for me, that is a great pleasure every Monday morning, and I look forward to it also.
Frosty, I'm going to start things off this morning, and I mentioned this last hour, and knowing you, your personality, and your extremely great writing skills, and you know more about the border and illegal aliens than anyone else I know, I was incensed when I heard this morning that Homeland Security has a new edict that has been sent to our Border Patrol agents that if illegal aliens show combative attitudes, like throwing rocks or whatever, just back away and let them go. If they show aggression, back away. Do not use your firearms, just basically let them in. What kind of insanity is this?
Well, again, it's the ongoing transformation, or what I might call deformation, of our country from a land where the rule of law has maintained this country now for 237-odd years to a country where we have lost the rule of law. And because of that, we are simply turning into Los Angeles is literally a Mexican barrio, and Spanish has been taking over the schools there, and the schools are turning out illiterate people because that culture does not have any value in education. That is the way Mexico is, and that's the way the people of Mexico are, and that's a fact. The average Mexican doesn't get past the 6th grade. And so that's why you have such poverty, grinding poverty down there. Well, that same kind of a problem is now, being handed to us. And the fact is, Barack Obama and also George Bush and before him, Clinton, did not enforce the borders. There are literally millions of employers of illegal aliens in this country, and they know who they are. They have their 21st century slave force. And, of course, this 21st century slave force gets paid minimum wage, whether it's at McDonald's or whether it is at Marriott hotels or, Holiday Inn motels and right on down the line. And they don't mind that they are undercutting American citizens. They are keeping the minimum wage in force to keep this poverty class here and also keep these illegals just to get here. They at least get a toilet, they get a shower, they get food in their stomachs, whereas they're not getting that in these other third world countries. So that's what's happening, and the guiding hand is Barack Obama, and the other guiding hand is Congress, and that's exactly why this is happening right now.
Yeah, but Frosty, you've been on the border. You've been there. I've been there, okay? But for our Border Patrol agents, what good are they? I mean, are they nothing more than little pieces of cardboard that we stand up and they have a mean scowl on their face and they say, illegal aliens, go home? I mean, what good are they if all of a sudden an illegal alien shows any aggression whatsoever? They can't protect themselves. They can't draw their weapons. All they are told to do now is run away.
Well, and there's I understand from what I've seen over my transom here on my computer that there is one big illegal alien mother who is trying to get back to her kids who are now in Washington State, and they're going to have a bunch of mothers charge the border somewhere west of Tijuana and San Diego there, and because the new edict is not to confront them, that they're going to charge into the United States. I mean, 100 or so, I'm not even sure.
Oh, my.
They're going to continue to keep testing and just pushing until there literally is no law, there is no Border Patrol that is effective, because the order is to stand down. And that's what's happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are, again, until we get a president and a Congress that will stand up, all those people who are hiring illegal aliens and inviting them into the country, and you all know who you are. You're Hormel, you are Tyson Chicken, you're McDonald's, you're Marriott hotels, all restaurants and hotels across the country love this illegal alien labor. And so as long as they have more power and lobbying power to make sure our laws aren't enforced, we're going to have a continuation of this, and it's just going to keep getting worse.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here, and I guess when I keep going back to this, and I don't mean to beleaguer this fact with you, but we've seen Border Patrol agents shot. We've seen them go out with beanbag guns to try to get the bad guys, and then they get shot and killed. We have seen absolutely no protection for our Border Patrol agents, and now we're told that they have to turn into cowards. I mean, I'm sitting here, what good is even having a uniform that says Border Patrol? What good is even putting these people in vehicles to be on the border if we're not going to, A, protect them, or B, have them be of any use?
Well, let me take it one step further. In the United States Army now, in the military and the Marine Corps, they're actually allowing turbans for Muslim Americans to be in the armed forces, and they get to wear beards, and they get to wear turbans, and so you're seeing the United States military turned into a multicultural force. And if anyone appreciates Roman history, the reason the Romans could not answer the call to aggression as they collapsed their country was because the Visigoths and the Goths and the Vandals migrated down from northern Europe into Italy and became part of the fighting force. And when they didn't care to fight, they simply mutinied, and the Romans no longer had a cohesive force to maintain themselves, and of course Rome fell. You're seeing the same thing happen here in the United States. And I want to also bring I wrote a piece over the weekend. It's called The Grinding Predicament of Canada, Australia, Europe, and America in the 21st Century. And that is, of course, endless immigration. And I want everyone to appreciate that. And I'm going to just give you a quick 3 paragraphs here. They're short ones. The 3 largest Western countries, America, Canada, Australia, and Europe, maintain the most responsible birth rates in the world. The citizens of those countries practice birth control, which brought their birth rates down to 2.0 or less in the last 45 years. While Western thinking and intelligent action created stable societies, and we have been since 1970, the average female has been averaging 2 children. The rest of the world roared ahead by adding 3.5 billion in those 45 years and continue with a net gain of 80 million per year. 1 billion added every 12 years, and no end in sight as we see humans are projected to go from 7 billion to 10 billion within the next 36 years. And that's in the light, Zeb, of the fact that 18 million humans starve to death every year, 10 million children, and 8 million adults. And what we're facing here, as Dr. Otis Graham said in his book Unguarded Gates, and I met the man, most Western elites continue urging the wealthy West not to stem the migrant tide, which adds 80 million net gain annually to the planet, but to absorb our global brothers and sisters until their horrid ordeal has been endured and shared by all 10 billion humans packed on an ecologically devastated planet. And one of the things that I want everyone to appreciate is that we're now in the process of adding 100 million more immigrants to the United States in the next 36 years. And so whether they come in illegally or the Border Patrol lays down on the job because Barack Obama has given that edict out and made sure, and he's also given an executive order to give all illegal alien children an automatic citizenship grant, I think most Americans have no understanding that we're about to absorb 100 million legal immigrants, their children, and their chain-migrated relatives. And that, Zeb, is going to make the bunch of illegals that are coming across the border almost a drop in the bucket compared to the legal ones that are coming in at 1 million per year right now, and probably very quickly before this year ends, if that 744 bill passes, 2 million every year. So we're really saturating our country with too many people, too many cultures, too many languages, and that's what we're facing, along with the illegal immigration that goes with it.
You know, Frosty, when you first on this program came out, and it's been, I'm going to say 2 years ago when you made this statement, I could be wrong, and it sounded a little harsh at first, but boy, I've picked up on it, and I'm a strong adherent to your comment that we should limit We should limit the incoming immigrants, legal immigrants, to 100,000 per year. You said that, and I absolutely advocate it. Because here's the reason. I'm looking at a state like New Jersey was in the news this morning, because now there's a big push from all the illegals that are in New Jersey, Chris Christie's state. They're demanding that they get driver's licenses, and they'll probably get them. All the more reason, I say then, that as governor of that state, Chris Christie ought to be bounced out on his ear.
Well, and that, here's what's happening. There is such a force of Mexican, Hispanic power now affecting itself in the United States, whether it's Marco Rubio or whether it's Baca or, all of the Hispanic power brokers in this country, even the comedians, Lopez, who hates America so much. That guy, he just hates America. Yeah. He sits here and makes millions as he gets on the comedy circuits. And so what you're having and what you're seeing is that, again, ladies and gentlemen, Hispanic Mexican power will be the new dominant force in this country, 51% by 2042. That's a demographic fact. They will outnumber European Americans. In other words, white America will be outnumbered by the immigrants that they allowed to come in here, both legally and illegally. And so you're going to see major import of language, Spanish language. You're going to see the major schools will be changing into Spanish and Spanish-speaking only. You're going to see a tremendously different slant of history because when a power such as the Spanish power, the Mexican power, the Hispanic power starts taking over in sheer numbers and will become the dominant ethnic group by 2042. That's 29 years from now, folks. You're going to see a complete change in the ethos of our country. We are probably one of the few countries in the world that has changed its ethnic orientation from 90% European American just 45 years ago, now down to only 56%, and soon to be 49%. So, again, we did it to ourselves, and this country, at this point, I don't know if we're going to have any chance to stop it, because, again, one way or the other, that 744 bill is going to get passed in either this year or next year or whatever, and you're going to see even a doubling of the flooding of humanity from 150 countries around the world be imported into our country. So we're not going to have any kind of a cohesive ethos, a cohesive religion, cohesive ethnic group or anything. It's just going to be a giant polyglot, and that is what we're facing right now, Zeb.
Yeah, but there's also something else that people need to worry about, and it goes along exactly with what you have mentioned this morning. What in the world is the matter with these absolute sit on the porch in the rocking chair, do nothing except watch the world go by nitwits that don't understand that our culture, our American culture that has been looked at and revered and had created jealousy from people all over the world because of what we have and what we worked for, and our Constitution. The greatest Constitution ever written in any country in the world. Our culture and our Constitution, they're about ready to go down the toilet.
Well, that's right. As a matter of fact, there was a statement by Barack Obama just recently. He said, I would like to move on some of my mandates, but the Constitution prevents me. and thankfully, it does, prevent him, because Barack Obama has done so many illegal things against the Constitution, but there's some that he just can't flat do at this point. But he's wearing it away. And again, if you get somebody who's so un-American like a Barack Obama, and the man was born in the Muslim world. He lived and grew up in the Muslim world to the age of 12. And anybody that doesn't think that he has got that kind of an emotional, a religious bent, you got to be out of your mind. And so he is making huge changes in the U.S. and he's leading us toward what he thinks the U.S. should be. And of course, he is in support of massive population immigration, importation into this country. I mean, he supported Senate Bill 744. And again, the American people, unless they read and listen to this show, watch this show, would not have any idea that the new bill doubles legal immigration into this country, and it's just going to flood the country, Zeb. So, yeah, we're getting what we literally didn't vote for, or we didn't vote at all, and our apathy is going to really kill what it is to be, and is killing what it is to be an American. I mean, pretty soon, within the next 20, 30 years, everybody will be a hyphenated American, and you will see all of the consequences that you now see in Europe, and even in Canada, manifesting here also. I mean, that's a done deal if we don't stop immigration and reduce it to 100,000 per year. And let me put that in my book. 100,000 per year. And that's 100,000 people who want to become American citizens and not hyphenated and speak English and contribute to the country, not some Somalian bush people or Cambodian bush people that just come here and instantly land on free food stamps and housing. I mean, and 100,000. Also, that's how many egress the country every year, so we could continue with a stable society into the 21st century. That's the reason I brought that 100,000 number into the mix.
Absolutely. And, you know, boy, you talk about a guy that has joined Frosty's team. I'm wearing the uniform. I'm out there getting my nose bloody for you, man. And then you hear of this incompetency and this idiocy, but I don't think it was. I think it was on purpose, to where Oregon's healthcare system, oh, golly, gee whiz, Frosty, what a mistake. Oh, they inadvertently signed up 4,000 illegals onto the healthcare. Are you kidding me? I'm not paying for anybody that doesn't belong here.
Well, yes, you are. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I are paying, according to Edwin Rubenstein, who wrote it was an economic report on immigration. You and I are paying right now, currently, $346 billion a year across 15 federal agencies to pay for illegal aliens now in the country, ladies and gentlemen. And each one of them costs us literally tens of thousands. I think the average illegal alien hits the tax rolls, I think, around, in their lifetime, over $55,000. None of them actually pay for themselves because they use more in public services, whether it's education, whether it's food stamps, whether it's Section 8 housing, or whether it's medical care, or their children are getting free breakfasts and lunches. 300, again, ladies and gentlemen, you're already paying $346 billion, B as in boy, dollars per year to pay for all of these illegal and legal immigrants to come into this country. And again, if I can very quickly, again, you want to join capsweb.org, capsweb.org, and numbersusa.org, and FAIR, FAIRUS.org. We're now at around 2.5 million members in order to fight this. Because if not, we are going to have this onslaught of humanity, Zeb, and it's not going to slow down, period.
Real quick, short answer on this because I'm out of time, but I got to have you answer this one. The 18-year-old spoiled little brat that is after her parents in court demanding that they pay her money to live on and go to a very expensive college. My goodness, what happened in this world? Common sense is dead.
All I know is I came from a very, my father didn't make very much money and my mother didn't make much money. I worked my tail feathers off through college myself. And so, this entitlement attitude, at some point, all these people who think they're entitled to everybody else's money are going to come down to a crashing reality that it gets down to personal accountability and personal responsibility, whatever you do in life. And in the end, you are going to have to pay for yourself, and or if you don't, you're going to suffer the consequences of your own penury and your own misery and your own life of uselessness. And
absolutely.
And that doesn't work for me. So
absolutely. You know what we ought to do? We ought to form our own party, our own ticket, and we ought to run after these hate mongers and bigots like the Democrats and everything else and set them on their ear, man, because we can go underneath the guise of our theme of common sense. That is not being used right now.
Party. Zeb, that would, because we are common sense.
That's right.
That's what built this country, and what's going on right now is destroying the country.
Got it. Hey, man, I always look forward to Mondays and talking to you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Zeb. And ladies and gentlemen, again, get active. Zeb and I and Zeb's other people that he brings on in interviews are bringing you what is America. And we love America. We care for our country. We care for our families. We care for our communities. And so please, those three organizations, help them be helped by empowering you, because if we don't stop what's happening to our country, we will go the way of the Roman Empire.
Yeah,
so let's don't do that. Zeb and I will stand with all of you and fight for our country, our communities, our culture, our language, our educational system, instead of what's happening to us.
Absolutely. Frosty, God bless you. Frosty Woolridge, Golden, Colorado. Talk to you next Monday. Thanks, sir. He's gone. Okay. Good friend. Frosty Woolridge, Golden, Colorado. Appreciate his comments. Hey, don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Yes, Dean, Cameron, Todd Siemens, dedicated and responsive to your needs. They look forward to every day at the office. They look forward to every day in serving you with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Think about what you have for your coverage, and then think Cameron and Siemens Insurance. All you have to do is call them, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Please don't put it off. You get a hold of them today. Really good folks. Oh, and by the way, speaking of good folks, I want to remind you about what's happening over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, and their great big 67th anniversary. Spectacular. Oh my goodness, sofas and chairs and carpet and mattresses and bedroom sets and lamps and all the accessories. Oh my goodness, they can make up complete rooms for you. What are you waiting for? Please get a hold of them today. Great big anniversary spectacular. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Wonderful people serving you with the best to beautify and organize your home. Stop in to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Well, we're going to go to the phone lines right now, and I know that the lovely Gina Jameson over at our studio already has this girl all lined up for us and ready to rock and roll, and we say...
Well, I'm trying to get her on the line. The first number was just a voicemail.
Uh-oh, not good. I tell you what, I'll wait here with bated breath. How's that?
Okay.
And I'll do a commercial.
Secondary is ringing, so...
Okay, well, I'll do a quick commercial. Let's not forget our friends at Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, open Tuesdays through Saturdays, 9 to 6, and believe me, they've got the biggest selection of side-by-sides at Let's Ride in the state of Idaho. Absolutely. All your ATVs, they've got great rebates, good low interest rates. They've got the dirt bikes for the young at heart. They've got all the watercrafts coming in every day. And they've got the best of a parts and service department, too. And all the accessories, they're there waiting for you Tuesdays through Saturdays. Let's Ride, where the fun is sold, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Let's check with Gina.
She is not available. Leaving a voice message now.
Oh, my. Deanne, if I could have you come in here for a second, please, and if you would keep trying that other number, I would certainly appreciate it. And we can't have this. We'll see what we can find out. And I gave you the numbers. Let me make sure that I've given you the right numbers.
Well, both of them said her name, so I know it's the right number. But so I did leave a voicemail, and I'll continue to try.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. In the meantime, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a jingle on the landline. I would like to hear from you. Okay? Come on, give us a call. Let's see what else have we got. We got to have that in a hurry, if you would, please, Deanne. Find out where she is. And in the meantime, we'll take your calls on any subject matter that you want to talk about this morning at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. You know, I will say this, and I want to word this carefully because somebody will distort my words and say something more dangerous than what I'm saying. But I am to the point of where we need, and here's that word again, somewhat of a revolution of thought, word, and deed against all the absolute rules and regulations that are being imposed on you and on me, primarily for the benefit of environmentalism and animal rights activism. When I read in the paper that some of our dear friends over in Hawaii County may be pushed out of business, out of the ranching business, because of environmental movements to cut back on their grazing, when I hear about common sense leaving our society, and we're absolutely eliminating businesses, agricultural businesses, with a lack of water because of a little fish that gets clogged up in the system in California, a worthless little minnow. And then I hear about how the WIC program, because of politics, and especially Michelle Obama, not considering the potato one of the healthiest foods on the planet, it's absolutely putting a jeopardization against everything with common sense in this country. And we need a revolt against all the rules and regulations. I am starting to despise all the EPA rulings that are trying to shut down anything for the advancement and the betterment of this country. I am starting and already despise what they're doing to private property rights. Look what they're trying to do with the Gateway transmission line. Just basically bully their way across private property, some of the best farm ground anywhere in the world right here in the Magic Valley, and just bully across it and say that's the way we're going to do it, take it or leave it. We are being bullied into submission, and absolutely senseless submission into government rules and regulations and no protection of private property whatsoever. Please excuse me. I've got a really sore throat this morning, and so you're going to have to call me and help me on this. But I honestly think that through our courts, we're not being protected. Through our Congress and our Senate, we're not being protected. We don't have anybody with a backbone that's going to stand up. We don't need any more monument land or status. We certainly don't need the White Clouds issue. And you finally got her?
Got her.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Gina. So stand with me as we try to fight some of the idiocy that's going on with complete takeovers of our surroundings, our environment, and also our private property. Good morning. We finally got a hold of her, and we say good morning to, and I'm going to say her last name, and if it's wrong, I'll stand corrected. Kelly Fedoruk, is that correct?
That's correct. Good to be with you.
Kelly, I thought maybe you'd gone south for the day and we were going to be without a guest. It's nice to have you on representing Alliance Defending Freedom.
It's great to be on. I apologize for the delay.
Kelly, you're brand new on my program. I've never had you on this show before. Give us a little bit background about you and also your involvement with the Alliance Defending Freedom.
Well, I'm a lawyer for Alliance Defending Freedom, and I graduated law school back in 2009 and worked in the pro-life movement for a little while and joined Alliance Defending Freedom about a year and a half ago. And I work on the marriage and family team specifically. So we are defending marriage and religious freedom in that capacity.
All right. Now, where are you from originally?
Originally from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas. Been there on a couple of occasions. Nice area down there.
That's very nice.
Marriage. Let's talk a little bit about marriage in our society. And I'm going to be very blunt. That's the way I do things. If people don't like it, they can turn the dial. I think that marriage in our society is being denigrated. It's being absolutely thrown down in the dirt and boot heels scuffed on top of it. I think the sanctity of marriage is no longer respected. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think you're right in that we desperately need to rebuild a marriage culture in our society and reestablish just how important that relationship is, how unique it is, and how essential the relationship is for the good of children, to ensure that children, wherever possible, have both a mom and a dad. And we know that relationship, when it's sustained and strengthened, is what is best for society as a whole.
Why are we, as a society, and again I'm being very blunt, caving into the absolutely abhorrent gay and lesbian lifestyle and letting them be a part of what they want to call normalcy and letting them adopt children and have families? I find this to be repulsive.
Well, it's really unfortunate that so many in society have suddenly decided that the emotional desires of adults are paramount to the needs of our children. And no one, especially the government, no one should be in the business of intentionally creating motherless and fatherless homes. And so that's why at Alliance Defending Freedom, we're so committed to rebuilding marriage, building a marriage culture, and truly strengthening this relationship, not only for the good of our country, but for the good of our children and our children's children.
There seems to be so much, and I'm going to point my finger right at this administration, the Obama administration, to where with their rules and regulations, they are denigrating and destroying the American family and beliefs and Christian attitudes as to what they've done with a couple of companies in this United States, saying that we don't care about your Christian beliefs, we don't care about your going to church and what your beliefs are on Sunday, because Monday morning, when you go to work, you're going to go ahead and you're going to accept our rules and edicts over abortion pill mandates and everything else. And I, as an employer, I don't blame these people with Conestoga Wood Company and others for standing up and saying to the president and this administration, no, we won't. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you're absolutely right, and what we're seeing is example after example where the government is essentially discriminating and punishing people who simply want to live their lives consistent with their beliefs. And we're seeing that in Conestoga Wood, the case you mentioned that's going to be before the Supreme Court later this month. We'll hear oral argument in both that case and the Hobby Lobby case. So we're seeing examples of this government discrimination toward these people, and all they want to do is live their lives. In America, we should be free to live our lives, run our businesses, consistent with our beliefs, whether those beliefs are about the sanctity of human life or whether those beliefs are about the beauty of marriage and how children should always have a mom and a dad.
I'm just livid that if I don't want to hire someone, I'm not going to hire someone. If I don't want to go against my beliefs, I'm not going to go against my beliefs. This is still a free society, and I still have the right of freedom of speech. I still have the First Amendment, etc. But yet the government basically is saying when I open a business, whether it's a cake business and somebody comes in and demands that they're going to have a gay wedding, that I'd have to provide a cake for them. No, I don't want their business. Thank you very much. Go down the street. And the same can be said of these people that don't want to abide by insurance coverage for abortion-inducing drugs. If they don't want to do it, they should have the right to not do it.
Absolutely right. Tolerance should be a two-way street. And, it was First Lady Michelle Obama who said that your beliefs, you don't just, go to church on Sunday. Your beliefs stay with you, Monday through Saturday as well. And it's ridiculous to think that we should corner our religious beliefs to just the four walls of a church. Those beliefs stay with us, whether we're at school, whether we're in business, whether we're at home, and we should be free. Everyone in this country should be free to live their lives, to run their businesses consistent with their sincerely held beliefs, and the government should not be coming in and telling us what we can and can't say or we can and can't do.
Has this system or this problem got so large, Kelly, that we can't change it? I mean, all the stories that various attorneys and legal counsels from Alliance Defending Freedom have had on my program, and you hear this morning where business owners should be able to have the freedom to live and do their business as long as it's ethical and legal and within the confines of our laws. They should be able to do what they want and do business with whom they want. I don't see why the government has the right to come in and say, no, we're going to be in complete control and you're subservient to us.
Well, they don't. The government doesn't have that right, and historically our country was founded on the principles of freedom of speech, free exercise of religion, freedom of association. Those are freedoms that are sort of inherent in who we are as Americans. And so even though the government is launching this attack, if you will, on these freedoms at the moment, I think there's a lot of hope. We're seeing a lot of courts in the HHS and the abortion pill mandate cases. We're winning there, and we'll remain committed to ensuring that everyone in this country is free to live and to work according to their sincerely held beliefs.
Let me ask you this. Now, you said you graduated from law school in 2009. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so you've been with out practicing law and seeing the nasty, dirty world for what it is for the last 5 years. One word of one object, to me, sums up the problem as to where we are today in America. We have forgotten to understand, read, and comprehend what the Constitution says.
Well, and I think that's true. I think that everyone in this country would be advantageous to read our Constitution, recall those basic fundamental freedoms upon which our country was founded, and upon which rests a free and flourishing, diverse society. In America, we should be able to have that diverse engagement in various ideas and bring them to the marketplace and encourage diversity. But diversity only comes when you can respect other people's viewpoints, even if you may not agree with those viewpoints. So that's, again, why we're committed to ensuring that everyone will defend their right to live their lives freely according to their beliefs.
Yeah, but right therein lies the problem, though, Kelly. A good point of discussion. The liberal left says you will do this, you will do that, you will adhere to this, you will do that. But what about our side? What about our beliefs in the Bible? What about our beliefs against the gay lifestyle? What about our beliefs that Romans 1:27? We are being subjected to having the diversity forced upon us, but we don't have the right to our own viewpoints.
Well, it's ironic. You're right. It's ironic, isn't it, that the advocates of tolerance are the ones that are being the most intolerant of anyone who disagrees with them. Essentially, they're pushing an agenda where you and the government sort of following behind, saying, if you don't believe with our agenda, if you don't agree, we're going to punish you. We're going to file lawsuits against you. And that's not what America is about. America, the government, and we should be respecting all viewpoints, even those we may not disagree with. And right now, there's a lot of opposition to those of us who do believe in the dignity of life, who do believe that marriage is important and fundamental to our society. So it needs to work both ways. They need to be tolerant and respect all viewpoints.
All right. Any final thoughts on this case with Conestoga Wood and some of the others? Will you be able to stand up against the government and its edicts, or what do you think is going to happen?
Well, if the past record is any evidence of that, I'm very hopeful for the Supreme Court decision in this case. The significant number of cases fighting against the abortion pill mandate, we have one. They have said you cannot force a business to violate its sincerely held beliefs. So I would encourage your listeners to stay tuned. Oral arguments will be March 25th, and it'll be very interesting to see how those discussions how those discussions go.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you very much to Kelly Fedoruk, legal counsel with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Kelly, come back and talk to us again in the future. I enjoyed having you on the program.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you very much. God bless.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Very nice lady right there. Kelly Fedoruk with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Oh, it's time for a weather update. And the weather, of course, this hour is brought to you by Red's Trading Post. Matter of fact, later on this morning at 10:30, we're going to have Ryan Horsley on the air talking about guns and ammo. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And let me tell you something. If you purchase a firearm from Red's Trading Post and receive the training bucks for both LMS defense and Shaw shooting to use in their rifle and pistol training courses, oh, that is so worthwhile. Check it out today at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. And you start a brand spanking new week of you and me in that wet weather, which is going to be with us for much of the day and taper off tonight and get sun and clouds tomorrow. Windy, too. For the winds out of the west, 10 to 20 miles an hour, possibly gusting to about 25. Otherwise, showers today and showers tapering off later on this evening. 51 for the daytime high. 52. You might see 55. I doubt it, but you could get up there. It will start to taper off later on this evening. 37 for the overnight low. The winds are going to also diminish sometime after midnight. Be a bit breezy tomorrow, but the clouds will go away and the sun will peek out, and you'll see a daytime high of about 67. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Reds Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls, our weather sponsor for this half hour. Gina, are you as frustrated as I am? I mean, you're a young mom, single mom, and there's so many new, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that, you can't do this, you can't go here, you can't buy this, you can't get that, you can't go and see this. I'm so sick and tired of rules and regulations. When I said that word revolt earlier, I know I'm going to get a lot of repercussions and people upset about using that word. But I'm sick and tired of everybody telling us how to live.
You know, we're adults, and last time I checked, I was a fairly responsible adult, so I can, live by the rules that have already been set, and they don't need to tell me.
But it's the rules and the regulatory system and the demands and the EPA and the government and just everybody looking over your shoulder and catching you in a country where supposedly you're innocent until proven guilty. Now you're guilty until maybe you can get a high-priced lawyer and prove yourself innocent.
I honestly think the only reason that they're looking over our shoulders so much is that they want us to, or they want to catch us doing something wrong so they can fine us, because that's the only reason that they're going to generate the revenue that they need to keep this big government going. They just need to downsize.
I try to be a better person, but I got to admit that I'm starting to become very short-tempered when it comes to all the regulatory systems and all the spying. And I'll give you an example. And I know this sounds childish. I apologize up front before even saying this. But when I drive up to a stoplight and I look up over my head and I see a camera shining in my face going, I'm recording everything you're doing, Mr. Bell, I want to send them a message, and it's not for a fastball or a slider.
Actually, I do send them that message that they're number one all the time.
But I'm so bitter about this. They want to encroach into everything we do. They want to know everything we have. Look at the light bulbs. Look at the light bulbs. Telling me that I can't have incandescent light bulbs. I went down to Ramsey's and I bought a box of them. A great big box of all the different sizes, because I think I've got enough to last the remainder of my lifetime, and I'm not going to be told what I can use in my home.
Thank you. And here's the whole thing. Of course, them, spying on us and making everything so much more difficult. I mean, we can't go anywhere without being watched, and that's under the guise of public safety and, and to keep an eye out for terrorism. And as we go in, okay, so let's talk about the light bulbs. The light bulbs that we're supposed to be using now.
Yeah.
You have to call a hazmat team out to your house if a light bulb breaks or explodes so they can clean that up. But with the incandescent ones, you don't have to. So it's all about the money.
I went down and I bought a box of them. I urge everybody to go over to Keith Ramsey's and just buy them out of stock. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's just so petty. It might be petty, the light bulb thing, but it's another niche that they've got their toes and their hands into my life, and I don't want it.
I don't think that the light bulb thing is quite such of a minor issue, because they are putting out into the public for public use a product that when it breaks, it's bad for the environment.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just upset. I'm sick and tired of people telling me what to do. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Hey, George Washington said we should have a revolt every 10 years. And it seems like we're an awful lot behind.
We're overdue. We're way overdue, Carl.
Way overdue.
But hey, wait a minute. Though, seriously, you're a very dear friend of mine, and you're always very honest and forthright. I already have taken some repercussions about last week when I mentioned about the word revolt or revolution. It seems like it's a word that's taboo anymore, and you can't say that. But, Carl, we got to do something. This is idiocy what's being forced upon us.
Who in the hell would do that? Say, you can't say that. Show us in the Constitution where you can't say that.
Well, but the point is, the minute you start talking about revolt or revolution, people get all nervous and, oh boy, we got to watch this guy. Here's one of these guys that's absolutely from northern Idaho. He must be one of these crackpots or something. The point is, we're being legislated and regulated from the time you get out of bed till the time you go to bed. There's absolutely nothing that's not regulated. Look at your private property. You've lost rights on private property. You've lost almost all the rights. You don't have anything to say about anything anymore. It's all regulation.
Yeah, I've got to get over to Ramsey's and get a whole bunch of those pocket constitutions and start handing them out. I'm so angry that people won't read. Take 5 minutes and read the Constitution.
Amen. And look at something else. It just irritated me, and my dear, dear friend Randy Hardy, president of the National Potato Council, said that basically it was politics through one woman, and that's Michelle Obama. Let's call it what it is. She doesn't like the potatoes. She thinks this, that, and the other, and so they stopped it from being on the WIC program. The potato is one of the healthiest foods that's ever been grown in the world. These idiots back there know nothing.
I know, and I'm getting sick of it, just like you, and I don't know what to do about it. You can't lead that donkey to water and make him drink.
Well, we got to keep struggling, though, and keep fighting somehow, Carl. God bless you for your call. I appreciate it as always.
Have a great one, Zeb.
Thanks, Carl. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you as upset about all these rules and frivolous, stupid regulations as I am?
Probably more so, but the problem is that we shouldn't have to we shouldn't have to vote or carry on. The thing of it is, we elect people to go back there and do our job, and they're the ones that demanding that the fence be built, that the illegals coming across need to be stopped, that we need to stop these regulations and all this new paperwork that's coming down the line. So much that we can't, you can't live within the boundaries because there's too many laws and regulations. And our legislators are the ones that's supposed to be back there putting up the fight for us.
Well, I agree.
Once in a while, they should be carrying the fight for us, and if they can't do it, we need to replace them.
No, I totally agree with you, sir, but when you hear things this morning, like I was talking about Homeland Security, issuing an edict to our Border Patrol agents, which puts them more in harm's way, that if some illegal alien shows any combative attitude like throwing a rock or whatever, they can go ahead and hit you with a rock, but you can't take your firearm out and protect yourself. This is lunacy.
Well, it is, but our legislators, what do you hear about them? Hear from them on it? You don't hear a damn thing. They need to be out there, and if it takes a couple of hundred representatives, they may need to make a trip down there, and they need to squawk.
Well, okay.
The squeaky wheel, or the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Okay, but wait a minute. I'm almost
talking about it. Not just saying, we're doing all we can. They need to be at it.
I agree with you.
And again, I say, if they're not going to do the job, let's replace them.
I agree. Now, wait a minute. Give me a break here. Let me jump in on here quick because I'm almost out of time. The insanity also is like with the sage-grouse issue. People don't understand how severe and dangerous this sage-grouse issue is. If they go ahead and claim it as an endangered species, it's going to shut down the West, literally. And it's all over a stupid bird that absolutely the habitat can be brought back. And also, they still have a hunting season on the bird. It's complete lunacy.
Well, it is, but it comes right back to our state and our federal legislators. They need to put up a fight, not just say oh ho hum and write a letter to the Fish and Game or the National Fish and Wildlife. They need to put up a fight.
I agree.
I haven't seen any bloody knuckles anywhere.
Well,
you don't hear from them hardly at all.
I agree with you, and I appreciate your call. I got to run to the news, and I appreciate it, sir. God bless. Have a good day. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm frustrated. I really am. I'm seeing our private property rights being eroded. I'm seeing grazers that have been in ranching business all their lives, and I'm seeing them being disassociated with their land, and they can't use it, and they're going out of business. I'm seeing the West absolutely in jeopardy over the sage grouse issue and the stupid asinine fish flush, all these other things, and we sit back and we just take it. I'm fed up with it, and we need people that are going to be fed up in higher positions as congressmen and senators and tell this administration and future administrations, no, enough is enough. I'll be back in 6. Welcome back. Zeb at the ranch. It's cloudy. It's going to get wet out there today. Enjoy, though. We need the moisture. And, of course, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And, of course, some of our great other advertisers we thank. Of course, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. And our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Give them a call at 734-6969. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been honored on this program to have many of the top featured newsmakers around the United States and, for that matter, the world, and I consider this man to be a patriot to this great United States, a retired Marine, author, inventor, host of War Stories on Fox News, a Silver Star, Bronze Star, and 2 Purple Heart recipient, and I say good morning cordially to Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Zeb, it's great to be with you. Thank you very much for the chance to be with you. I look forward to seeing you out there.
I am going to be there, and quickly I'll just tell everyone that the reason I'm having Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North on the program is that he's going to be coming into our area to speak at a Night of Patriots and Today's Heroes. That's going to be on April 12th at the King Fine Arts Center in Burley at 7 p.m., and of course it's going to go to enhance the scholarship fundraiser for the parents of Chris Workman that was killed in Afghanistan, and it's for the Chris Workman Scholarship Fund. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, a couple of quick questions as we go along here this morning. The policies of this administration, of Obama, and the military cuts, the Secretary of Defense, Chuck Hagel, to me it looks like another edition daily of the Keystone Cops. What are your thoughts about our foreign policy?
Well, without being offensive to anybody who may have voted for him, at least Barack Obama has made sure that Jimmy Carter is no longer the worst president in American history. And Jimmy Carter is the only graduate of my alma mater to ever make it to the White House. And I never thought you'd see anything quite so bad, but we've matched it and exceeded it. When you look at what they're doing to the finest military that the world's ever known. Look, I spent 25 years in the Green Machine, so I've got a lot of experience. Grew up in the Army. My dad was a soldier. Went right off to the Marines at age 17, and I've seen a lot of our military over the course of certainly the last 13 years in 57 embeds with Fox. In fact, was out on that fire base just a few weeks before Chris Workman was killed. When you look at what this crowd is doing, the people of Ukraine are now paying the price that others have paid, like those in Syria, those in Libya, those in Egypt, and every ally that America has got to be asking themselves, can you really trust the Americans to give us peace through strength, as we've promised to do ever since the end of World War II?
Lieutenant Colonel, let me ask you this. Some of our greatest presidents were men of the military, and they understood respect through strength. In this case, President Obama, a community organizer that organized pancake suppers, has absolutely no experience whatsoever. How bad really is our situation in the world standing right now with other countries and respect back to us, the United States?
Well, I don't think a good commander-in-chief necessarily has to have military experience to be commander-in-chief. I mean, Abraham Lincoln had done a few minutes in the Illinois militia before he became president in what turned out to be the most turbulent time in our history after the Revolution. So you don't need military experience. What you have to have is a vision and a strategic perspective on how important America is, not just to ourselves, but to the rest of the world. Certainly since 1945, every president, no matter what party he or she has been in, with the singular exception of Jimmy Carter, has decided that the best way to preserve peace for America and offer others the hope of liberty is to lead. My experience, Zeb, is that the only way to lead is from the front, by example. That's the best leaders I've ever known. Certainly there's, I suppose, other examples, but yeah, and some may even take the Chris Workman Scholarship and go to Harvard, but Harvard doesn't offer a master's in business leadership. They offer a master's in business administration, and so do lots of other colleges, Idaho State and University of Idaho. They all offer those kinds of things. Leadership is the kind of thing that Chris Workman demonstrated. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of thing that we expect our presidents to offer. And this president has adamantly refused now for better than 5 years to offer leadership of any kind, other than to say that America is not an exceptional place anymore and that we're going to gut our national defenses. I mean, we've got the finest military today the world has ever known. It is all volunteer. For the very first time since the American Revolution, every single person serving in our armed forces is a volunteer. And they've gone to war because of 9/11/01, not because of gold or oil or colonial conquest. They've gone or the international community, I would point out. They go to offer others the hope of freedom because it's going to make America a safer place. And unfortunately, this president does not seem to understand that.
The Workman family, of course, has put together this scholarship fund, and I think it's absolutely a wonderful idea in honor of Sergeant Chris Workman. And you, of course, coming in to speak at a night of patriots and today's heroes. Without giving away the entire message, what basically do you want the audience to know so that they want to buy tickets, they want to be there on April the 12th, and they want to hear your message? Tell us a little bit about why.
I'm going to challenge everybody there. This Chris Workman Memorial Scholarship is a tax-exempt organization. So here we are 3 days before tax season when we're going to be there, and remind everybody that next year they get to deduct their contributions to the scholarship fund from their taxes. That's number one. Number two, you can't have too many of these in America. The very best of these kinds of activities are at the local level, where people know the kinds of sacrifices made, in this case by the Workman family, the ultimate sacrifice by Chris himself, the kinds of people that go off to serve our country as soldiers, sailors, airmen, guardsmen, Marines, and they are the very bravest and best of a generation. And so this scholarship fund is a great reminder to youngsters of the heroism that precedes them, gives them an opportunity for a college scholarship they otherwise might not have gotten, and lets them have the opportunity to serve their country as well. So my encouragement is more of this around America, and I'm pleased to be part of this out there.
Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, let me ask you this question. What do you think about the youth in general today? Do they really understand and appreciate the patriotism that's gone into this country?
Well, look at you make a very good point. I'm encouraged by the young people of this country because I have 14 grandkids. And 4 kids who've delivered those 14 grandkids for us. I look at the young people today and say, what we're handing them are some enormous challenges, not simply in national security, but economically, the tax burdens, the debt, and things that are being run up by this administration. Hopefully, we are worthy of the sacrifices of the Chris Workmans who've given their lives and lost their lives in the process of defending this country. And yet I find young people still lining up to volunteer to serve because they know the importance of service to this country. So I'm encouraged by the future. I'm encouraged by the fact that I think you're going to have a bunch of youngsters coming along that understand that they're not entitled to everything in the world, that the government cannot do everything for us, that personal responsibility comes with the liberties that were provided for us, starting at the very beginning with the Declaration of Independence, that are enshrined in our Constitution, and hopefully we will continue to have good people like Chris Workman volunteering to serve our country.
I really want to say how much I'm looking forward to meeting you and talking to you that night, a night of patriots and today's heroes. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North is going to be there speaking at the King Fine Arts Center at 7 p.m. on April 12th. And after I conclude this conversation, I'll give people ticket information, etc. But Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, one final thought. With all that I agree with you on, every time I listen to you on Fox and other places, is there a political aspiration in your mind possibly to lead us out of these doldrums?
One of the things that you will see, Zeb, is that all of my books are dedicated to the same woman, the one that I married 45 years ago, and who just had a birthday yesterday. And I could not ask for your vote for something if I couldn't get hers. If I came home tonight and said to her, hey, look, I'm going to run for public office, I stand a very good chance of waking up in a pool of my own blood on the kitchen floor, hearing her say, how do I reload this thing? So, the Secret Service cannot protect me from Betsy.
I think we'll wrap it at that, and I would like to ask if I could possibly get you back on the air at another time. You're an excellent guest. Thank you so much. God's blessings.
I look forward to being with you and to seeing you out there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, and he will be speaking in Burley at April 12th at 7 p.m. at the King Fine Arts Center, a night of patriots and today's heroes, and that's for the scholarship fundraiser for the Sergeant Chris Workman Scholarship Fund. Absolutely an excellent guest, and I'm looking forward to listening to him that night. By the way, let's give some of the ticket information right now while we have the opportunity. Tickets are available at www.sergeantchrisworkmanscholarship.com, or for more information, call 436-4149. And all that ticket information, once again, this is going to be April 12th at the King Fine Arts Center at 7 p.m., and I have to be there. This is going to be absolutely excellent. The Sergeant Chris Workman Memorial Scholarship Fund, all proceeds will benefit educational scholarships, both academic and military, in the state of Idaho. Gina, very nice man, Oliver North. She's probably on the phone right now. But I really appreciate Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North being on our program this morning, and I want to say thanks to Gina and everybody else for helping coordinate and organize that. Very nice man.
I love that interview. He's very proper, very cordial, and I think that this is going to be a great event, and I definitely want to go to that as well.
Well, we'll just all have to sit together, and I'm looking forward to it. And once again, tickets are available, and unless you have another source, I think right now what I've got, tickets available at, like I said, www.sergeantchrisworkmanscholarship.com, or they can call 436-4149.
That's the information that I have right now, which, by the way, George Mass called in and said wonderful interview, and thanks for bringing him on the air.
Well, you're very welcome. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I understand you finished the car.
I did. Few more things to go, but other than that, the repaint is actually done. She looks beautiful. She's black. She's shiny. And so just a few minor mechanical issues, and then she'll be rocking and rolling. I'm excited.
I got to do a commercial, but when I get back, I want to ask you one simple question as to why we say a certain phrase, okay?
You got it.
Be right back. Stand by. Don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill at 139 West Main in Burley, and I love eating there. You can go in today and have a half BLT sandwich, super salad, fries or tots. It's always good. The people are so friendly, and you're going to love the environment in there. If you're like me, I love all the sports memorabilia and all the pictures and everything else. It is a fun place. Gonna love it. Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Gina, how come we always refer to a car, a boat, or anything as female, her?
I don't know. All of my cars have had girl names. I've always referred to my cars as girls. However, my trucks, I've always referred to them in the male gender.
You have?
Yes.
What was the name of that movie where the car was a devil car and it went around and run over people and everything? Remember that?
What
was? Was it Christine?
Christine, and it was an old, like, 57 Chevy.
I don't know. I thought it was an old Plymouth or something. I can't remember.
That was Christine.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Because people get affectionate with their vehicles and they're temperamental.
Now be careful how you use the word affectionate. There's going to be a little weirdness here.
Well, this is true, but people do fall in love with their cars, and we invest a lot of time, money, just in the upkeep and everything, and so maybe that's why they refer. And I know a lot of ladies are going to be mad at me for saying this, but maybe that's why they refer to them as in the female gender.
Really?
Maybe so. I don't know, but my truck, I'm calling him the old man right now.
Well, my car I always refer to as a
Well, see here, I've had Little Miss Blue,
really?
Bonnie Bluebell. She was a 79 Bonneville. I've had Snow White, which was my 99 Grand Am. The one I have right now is Trixie, and that's the Grand Prix. And then the Bonneville, the new one, the black one, that's Miss Bonnie Blackbird.
Yeah, but look at back in the days of the Old West, even going back into the frontiersman lifestyle. Davy Crockett referred to his rifle as Old Betsy.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's an affectionate term. Maybe I'm going to have to do some research on that as to why people actually do that.
Okay, well, find out, because everything's always referring to the female side of the gender when it comes to equipment or something. You never hear a guy say to his wife, "That's old Herman over there."
You never know. I mean, like I said, all of my trucks have been had the male name. We had the Orange Beast, and the one I have right now is Old Man.
Oh.
So
be careful when you use the term old man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got 2 phone calls.
Okay, I'll take one. Go ahead. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb?
Yes.
You know why they call them women's names?
Careful.
Because if you don't treat them nice, they get cantankerous as hell.
Yes, we do.
How dare you call me old man?
God bless you, Al. Thanks. I appreciate it. That's a good point. I never thought of that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my thought on it is if it's got motors, tires, or built like a woman, it's going to give you trouble, so that's why they...
Oh, if you think for 5 seconds with my wife sitting less than 8 feet from me, I'm going to make a comment on that, you are full of condensed canal water, buddy.
Have a great day.
All right, you too. Thank you very much. I think that I would refer to a female name for an auto or anything else out of utmost respect. I'm covering my base right here. Gina's on the phone.
CYOA.
Yeah, you're not kidding, it is.
Yeah.
But I was just curious, I've never seen a study on that. How come we name things always with the female gender? And there was a movement, remember that not too long ago where what was it, the tornadoes or the hurricanes, that somebody was all upset and didn't want them named after ladies anymore, and they wanted generic names type of thing?
Right. Well, I know that with the tornadoes and the hurricanes, they start with the alphabet and then they go down. But there's been, hurricanes and massive storms with the male name as well. So they're kind of neutral. They'll go back and forth. But as far as inanimate objects like a vehicle, a motorcycle, a gun, whatever, a lot of times they are in the female gender.
Yeah, but think about it. Here's a weatherman on NBC, ABC, CBS News, whatever. Hurricane Lillian is about ready to hit Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and then the next day they change the name and they go Hurricane Fred. It just doesn't have the punch.
No, it doesn't have the punch, Okay. So I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that. I will look at that, and you've got another phone.
I tell you what, I'll take that call in just a minute. Have them have patience, because I want to say thank you to 2 great businesses that are sponsoring our Cassia County School Days, and that's on Thursdays. And they are, of course, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they've got all the children's books, and they've got great fun games, and they got all the infant shoes and all the spring clothing, and they always gift wrap for free right there at A Child's World, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. And then also our thanks to Ambulatory Surgery Center in Burley, 1344 Highland Avenue. The number to call, 677-8888. Remember that number. They have saved area folks hundreds and hundreds of dollars with outstanding care for over 14 years. And don't forget, please remember colonoscopies. Protect your health, and stop in or call at the Ambulatory Surgery Center of Burley. Both of those businesses bringing you School Days in Cassia County. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. I can barely hear you.
I can hear you good. Go ahead.
Now I can hear you. It's a term of endearment for me. You know, I have a pickup that I used to really like, and I had a girl's name for it, lady's name for it, and then after I sold it, then I ended up with another pickup that I didn't care so much for, that didn't have quite the name of endearment to it.
Okay, so the old Betsy after Davy Crockett's rifle, and old Donna in favor of maybe a 57 Chevy, and that's what my buddy back in high school called his 57 was old Donna running pretty good, and all that just a term of endearment, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Then when they leave you stranded, then it changes.
I was going to say, you read my mind. Okay, thanks much for the call. We appreciate it. Have a good day. when you get stranded, it turns into a different name.
That's true, too.
Well, now this car that you're finishing, this, what is it, a black Bonneville?
She's a 97 Bonneville SSE.
Ooh.
Yeah. Leather interior, all the...
Did you do the leather?
No,
I see.
There's the driver's seat does need to be fixed up a little bit, so I'm going to take a needle and thread to that, and then I'm probably just going to put seat covers on it. But she's going to be a good looker. She's going to be a looker.
What kind of wheels have you got on it?
They're the 16-inch stock aluminum wheels that came with the car.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, ABS. And they're chrome, and then, wow, you look at, and I've actually got a picture, and I'll forward it over to you. She is so shiny black right now, you can see your reflection in her.
Are there different stages of black? I mean, like black, black, and shiny black, and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, there is, that you can do the flat black, you can do the semi-gloss. We did a 3-stage single-stage black. Which
3 stages?
We did 4 different coats of a single-stage black, so that means that we don't have to put a clear coat on it to make it shine.
Ooh.
Yeah, and of course we sanded it. We did the 180, then the 320, then the 600, then the 1000 grit.
You know, it's coming to the point where you can't say black anymore. Did you know that?
When it's refueling to a car, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah, I know that there are certain elements back on the East Coast that think every time we say black, we're trying to be racist.
Well, I'm not being racist with my car.
I know, but there are nincompoops out there, my dear.
Well, there's tons of nincompoops out there who love to make the news.
I can't wait to see this car. What's under the hood?
It's the 3800 Series 3 V6.
Ooh, not too bad on mileage either.
Well, she gets about 27 miles to the gallon. She's got dual exhaust. She's got a moon roof, and just all of the bells and whistles. And I'm totally in love with this car. And one thing that I noticed, and I kind of had to giggle, remember back in the day when we used to always have, and I'm not promoting smoking, but there used to always be ashtrays in the doors on most of the old cars?
Yeah.
This one still actually has those. Now, on my 99... which is just 2 years newer, those are gone. But on the 97s, in this particular model, there are still ashtrays in the doors in this car.
I have got to see this car. It just sounds like it is. Now, who's going to get this car?
This is actually going to be my car. My daughter is getting the 2007 Grand Prix because I want her to have the safest car possible. So, because she doesn't know anything about vehicles, so I'm going to give her my car. I am going to take ownership of the 97 Bonneville because, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, it's too much car for her.
You know what you need to do? You need to take some gold paint, bright gold paint, and just hand letter on each door, on each side, say, Harley girl just passed you by.
Actually, all of my Vandal stickers, you've seen my white car, and I've got Vandal stickers everywhere.
Yeah.
Those are going to be transferred, and so it's going to be black and gold, and then I might actually do something to that effect.
Look out!
Oh, look out, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
Yep, and her name is Miss Bonnie Blackbird.
I'll bet it is. Hey, listen, after all, I can't wait to see that. I'll look forward to it. We'll take a little break, come back. Ryan Horsley with Red's Trading Post going to talk about guns next half hour. Don't go away.
And now now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, welcome back, and I am really, really tickled that I've got an old friend coming on the program right now that hasn't been with us for quite some time, and I look forward to his vast knowledge on what is happening with guns and ammunition, and that's, of course, Ryan Horsley with Red's Trading Post in Twin Falls. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I am excellent, Zeb. How are you?
Well, if I was any better, the wrong fat man be wearing my clothes. Hey, I got a question for you right up front. You have been such a straight shooter, and I mean that, about what's going on in the world of guns and ammo. How concerned are you about this conventional arms treaty with the Eastern European Union and also the United Nations, that small arms trade treaty? What do you think is going to happen? Are we just going to wait till the last minute and all of a sudden our guns are going to be possibly taken away by the United Nations in this country, or isn't it that dangerous?
You know, I know that's been a bone of contention for a long time with a lot of our lawmakers, and really not entering into an agreement with the United Nations on this. You know, especially as far as having other countries dictate what our Second Amendment looks like, what we are able to own. We're seeing actually a lot of firearms manufacturers who are quietly moving a lot of their operations to the United States. You have Glock, which is in Austria, and they are moving all of their production into the United States. They're still having their Austria facility, but there's enough of them lately that are getting to the point that any importation of firearms is not going to be good. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of them that are very concerned.
The last time I had you on the program, and you kind of left us with a very concerned thought that ammunition in its purest form was going to be harder and harder and harder to get. And I'm hearing stories about where .22 ammunition is almost virtually impossible to buy. What's the true story on ammunition right now?
The true story on ammunition, you know, we just got in it was probably about a month ago, we got in a whole, just a pallet of .22 ammunition. And, you know, it's funny because a couple people initially balked at the price because they're like, it shouldn't be that much. But at the same time, you know, we weren't marketing up anymore, and then it was gone. In fact, one of the guys who kind of balked at it, you know, came back and said, okay, I can't find anywhere else, I'll get some. I go, it's gone. I mean, we had it all stacked up. And he said, we'll just order some more. And I said, we ordered that a year ago. We ordered that a year ago, and we just now got it in. And it's crazy. And, you know, there's various reports from people hoarding. You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of consumers who are purchasing it and selling it online at high prices. And you know, there's lines out at a lot of the, you know, everybody knows when the ammunition shipments are coming in at a lot of stores. But the problem is, and a lot of people are just blaming it on, you know, consumers just absolutely buying it up. But I'm not seeing anymore. I'm not seeing regular deliveries of, you know, enough of regular deliveries of ammunition. Uh-huh. And it's, you know, it's funny because the finger pointing goes, you know, is coming around to manufacturers, distributors, dealers. And, you know, I'm going, listen, we're just not getting it in. I mean, other ammunition is trickling in, but especially in .22, it's not the case. However, there's not very many manufacturers of .22 ammunition in the country. You know, the biggest one is right here in Idaho, CCI up in Lewiston. Mm-hmm. They're the largest manufacturer of .22 ammunition in the country, and they're going, you know, they're maxing out their shifts, but it's, you know, it's still not enough to keep up with demand.
Why 22? I mean, you would think maybe the higher calibers, but why, Ryan, is there such an interest and worry about 22?
I think that there's a lot more shooters who, because of the price of ammunition, that have thought that it's cheaper to shoot 22. In the past, it's okay. You want to go plinking, you want to go shooting, go out and shoot 22. Really, that's not the case. In fact, I had a customer the other day. He said, a friend of mine wanted to go shoot 22 because it was cheaper. And he said, not right now. He said, honestly, it's cheaper to shoot a 9mm than it is 22.
Oh, my.
So, get 9mm instead. And, and that's the case that, in fact, firearm sales of 22s has just gone down because you can't get it in. Smith & Wesson, in fact, on a recent promotion that they're starting to offer is they're pulling back ammunition because they're having such a hard time selling their firearms that they will be sending you ammunition as part of purchasing a firearm just because firearm sales have stalled because of lack of 22.
Ryan, you and I have talked about this, and I'm not trying to paint the picture of black helicopters and guys in black suits jumping down my chimney or anything, but I got to ask this. Are you as concerned today as maybe on our past conversations a year or so ago about civilian disarmament in this country?
What's going on in Connecticut right now should scare anyone. I mean, honestly, in the past they've allowed, certain firearms to be grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But that's kind of not the case. They're forcing firearm owners to register their firearms, gun owners to register their firearms. What's interesting is a lot of the gun owners who sent in their application to register their firearms have been declined and told to sell their firearms. So one, they're saying, hey, listen, tell us what you have, and then you can keep it. And then they're getting the letters back saying, by the accounts I'm reading, saying, no, and these are actual accounts on news stories that, they can't, they can't keep the firearms. So you have so many gun owners who are refusing. And I was looking up, and they had the December 31st deadline, and they're estimating anywhere from 50,000 to 350,000 gun owners have not registered their firearms in Connecticut, making those automatic felons. And and just looking at trying to prosecute 300, up to 350,000 gun owners is nuts. It's crazy, and not only that, but if you take a look as well, is they're requiring gun owners to register their firearms, much like sex offenders. And and what they're doing is, and if you fail to say that you moved somewhere and fail to properly register, then you're in trouble. And not only that, but you've seen in other states where they're giving out the addresses of firearm owners. They're using the same system that they use for sex offenders that they're using for gun owners. And I find that offensive. I find that highly offensive.
Did you think...
I pulled up a quote. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say right there you made a point. Did you ever think in the last 5 years that it would progress this rapidly, especially on the East Coast with Cuomo and others in New York, that we're seeing basically a concerted effort for gun control?
Absolutely. And, they're really not hiding it. I mean, the Sandy Hook tragedy was kind of their... was kind of their green light. It's crazy because even when you take a look at the assault weapons ban, pulled something up, and it said according to a study from the ATF that came out a couple of years ago, none of the top 10 guns used in crimes in the U.S. were so-called assault weapons. They were pistols and revolvers, but they're not going after those. They're going after assault weapons because they're scary. Right. And if you take a look at assault weapons, what they're defining as assault weapons, I mean, a telescopic stock, a flash hider, versus a muzzle brake. I mean, a lot of it is just, a barrel shroud, which is essentially sheet metal with holes in it. It's crazy. And it's having them. Does it make it shoot faster? No. Does it make it more powerful or explode? No. It's a knee-jerk reaction to what's happened. And and when it gets down to it, I don't know if you saw, it was just last week, they had another mass stabbing in China.
Yes.
And China has a knife registration.
Mm-hmm.
And, you even had that mass knife stabbing right on at the same time as the Sandy Hook tragedy. And, it's no matter what we do, it's dwindling things down, saying, hey, listen, here's our solution. But their solutions aren't going to address the problem. It's just going to continue eroding at our rights.
When you look at people like Chuck Schumer and you look at Dick Durbin from Illinois and you look at the left and the movement that the left has tried to garner with the last 3 years of the Obama administration, do you, as a gun and ammo store, do you sit back and just kind of break out in a cold sweat as to what they may try to do in the last 3 years of this administration?
I do. I that something's coming. Something in some form or fashion, is coming, and it's not going to address it. All the solutions, the 1994 assault weapons ban did nothing. I mean, it really did nothing. So, but the problem is they keep offering these solutions, and for the most part, John Q. Citizen says, hey, listen, yeah, I don't want to see a tragedy like like Columbine. I don't want to see a tragedy like Sandy Hook. And you have people making these knee-jerk reactions, saying, hey, listen, if that's what it takes, I'll give up that right, or I'll make these concessions. But in reality, it doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And that's what's concerning. And it's not the right solution. And and at the same time, it's just the eventual eroding away at our rights. They know it's popular to say, "Hey, I support the Second Amendment," and wait till that soundbite is in, and then however, and then you always have to wait till the however in their speeches.
Let me ask you this question, Ryan. I really credit you, and I mean this. I credit Ryan Horsley with Red's Trading Post to enhance the idea of me going to the concealed weapons classes, which I did with my wife, and I'm very thankful. But I'm hearing stories about how they're going to try to repeal a lot of the concealed weapons permits and be more conscientious about how they're handed out or how they're controlled. What are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I feel I am a strong proponent of constitutional carry. Concealed weapons is one thing, and I know that, a lot of people have, touted, a lot of gun owners are, tout concealed weapons license. However, and it sounds, I get a weird look from people on this, but I favor constitutional carry, much like Arizona's done, Alaska's done, several other states, that if you're a law-abiding citizen, then you are allowed to carry a firearm wherever. Mm-hmm. I mean, wherever is, that's not prohibited, federal building, so on and so forth. But why should it be any different from open carry to concealed carry? Mm-hmm. Why should you have to require, why does that require you to have a license? And, boy, is it being concealed partially in a holster or on my dashboard, and you have to go through this whole process. The fact of the matter is that you are a law-abiding citizen. You should be able to carry a firearm, concealed or not concealed. And that's essentially what constitutional carry is.
Well, let me ask you another one right there, though, Ryan, and you and I have talked about this. And there's a lot of people that have called me on this program about, well, will this state honor this concealed weapons permit? Or if I travel over here, will I get in trouble traveling through that state to get to my final destination? Why can't we have a uniformity so that everybody understands really what they can and can't do?
You have a lot of people, in a lot of other states that have been spoon-fed a lot of this garbage. That, boy, if you invite a lot of law-abiding, gun owners into our state, and accept their concealed weapons license, boy, anarchy's gonna, rule. I mean, honestly, much like you just saw locally at this, on this. concealed firearms on campus.
Yeah.
Deal that is going to go before honor. I mean, Times News stating that that basically these students are going to be snorting lines of coke, drinking Jack Daniels, and shooting each other, which was just. I was shocked by that editorial. Going, wow, that's what you feel that law-abiding gun owners are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this feeding into these scare tactics, and that all of a sudden. Having a person who has been trained and having them with a concealed weapons license, the fact that they're stating that people are going to risk that, and look at the amount of shootings or crime done, criminals do not apply for concealed weapons license, period.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something else. Tell me, please, in the West, whether it was Arizona, whether it was Texas, California, or Idaho, where, Ryan, in history, was the evolution of wearing a gun belt or carrying a rifle, where was the evolution so that it became all of a sudden illegal?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, it seems so ambiguous to me, and I'll tell you how this all came up, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but the other night we were watching an old Western movie, and I just had this thought hit me: where did it evolve that all of a sudden this particular character in this Western movie couldn't today still dress like he did 120 years ago? Where was the evolution that all of a sudden made him illegal? I don't understand that.
No, it's a good question, and at the same time, if there are so many people out there with concealed weapons licenses who are using their Second Amendment, are protecting themselves, and are not carrying a firearm, to go assault other people, are not out there to scare other people, and then you have open carry, which the fact of the matter is that. I don't favor open carry.
Mm-hmm.
Open carry is, if you're out hunting or something, that's fine. And if you choose to, display open carry, that's fine. I understand there's other people who feel uncomfortable with firearms, and honestly, I don't. If I'm carrying a firearm, I don't want it, out in the open. I don't want to go to Albertsons and be asked by the manager to leave if I'm going in there for, a carton of milk. And, but at the same time, if something happens, if I need to protect myself, and I don't want to sit there and have to leave it in the car or do whatever else, and, that's just it. It's just the concealed carry versus open carry versus constitutional carry.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that it boils back down to, if you carry a firearm, you should be able to, and if you're a law-abiding citizen, you've not broken the law, you're not a felon, then you should be able to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
And be able to carry a firearm, whether it be concealed, whether it be open carry, whatever.
Okay, we've got a caller with a question. I've only got 3 minutes left. Real fast, caller. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you said something about being able to carry a firearm either way, concealed or open carry up in Alaska. Well, that's not true. I had my pistol taken away from me there, and it was on my belt, open. I was wearing a jacket. You could see it, my jacket was unbuttoned. He said it was concealed and took it from me. It took me 6 months to get it back.
Okay, I'll have Ryan respond to that over the air. Thank you for your call. Ryan, what do you know about that as far as up in Alaska is concerned?
I'm not sure on this particular instance, but I know a couple of years ago that's when they pushed for constitutional carry.
I see.
And I have a friend of mine has a radio show up there. In fact, he has Firearms Friday, and on his radio show, and he's and he touts that as far as constitutional carry. Most of us want to abide by the law. And if we're forced to, do open carry, okay, that's what we have to do. But at the same time, it's the same if, I'll tell people if, hey, if you want to go walking down the street, with a firearm in your hip, that's one thing. However, you're going to get a couple looks from people, And we don't want that attention. We don't want that attention. It's not something that we're seeking attention for. But at the same time, you're going to get, stopped by a couple cops along the way as well, asking what you're doing, why you have a firearm, but at the same time, it's being able to carry a firearm. Zeb, if you ever get a chance to talk with some police officers, it's interesting, talking with the police officers, the young police officers who are just starting out, who have this idea that they can protect and save everyone, and the older officers who begin to look at it as they've came to the scene one too many times. And they know that people who are trained to use a firearm and protecting their lives have a better chance of defending themselves.
Absolutely.
And that's what it boils down to.
I want to just say there's so much more that we need to talk about. Ryan, I really appreciate it. It's been a long time, too long, and you need to come back more often. God bless you, Ryan, at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Thank you, and come back soon, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Very, very knowledgeable young man, Ryan Horsley at Red's Trading Post, and we'll have him back for more discussions on guns and ammunition. Oh, my goodness, it's time for a weather update. I've got to have that weather update right now, brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road in Jerome. Hey, it's tax time, and it's time for Tax Return Meat Bundle. What does that mean? Over at Scarrows, you get 75 pounds of beef, pork, and chicken for only $250, cut the way you like it. And let me tell you something. Scarrows Meats is locally owned, and they are good. I've known this family for a long time. They sell taste one bite at a time. Check it out at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. As you start a brand spanking new week of you, me, and that wet weather, which is going to be with us for much of the day and taper off tonight and get sunny clouds tomorrow. Windy, too. For the winds out of the west, 10 to 20 miles an hour, possibly gusting to about 25. Otherwise, showers today and showers tapering off later on this evening. 51 for the daytime high. 52. You might see 55. I doubt it, but you could get up there. It will start to taper off later on this evening, 37 for the overnight low. The winds are going to also diminish sometime after midnight. Be a bit breezy tomorrow, but the cloud will go away and the sun will peek out, and you'll see a daytime high of 7. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you very much, Michael. Brought to you this hour by some really, really good folks. Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Remember, they're selling taste one bite at a time. Call them 324-7657. Oh, boy, we've got a busy day today, a lot of things to catch up on from last week, and we've got a really full plate for the rest of this week on the program, so don't miss a minute of it. Every day, Monday through Thursday, 8:06 to 11 o'clock, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. And I also want to remind you about a big spring tire sale going on right now as we speak at all 7 Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center locations. They've got the Ultra Z900, their best-selling all-season touring tire on sale. 20% more tread life, outstanding wet and dry traction, quieter ride. Oh, you're going to love this tire. And they've got all the tires, like maybe the Open Country AT for your pick-em-up trucks. Oh, boy, 40% more tread life, enhanced traction, better braking. All the tires on sale right now for the big spring tire sale at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Get in there. Talk to Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, Twist Family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Well, Gina, we're going to wrap it up. We are all done for the day. Kind of a rainy, gloomy day. I'm just going to stay in the office and work, I think, for the rest of the day. What are you going to do?
No, pretty much the same thing. Stay in the office and work for the rest of the day.
Okay. Well, send me a picture of, what did you call that car?
Miss Bonnie Blackbird.
Miss Bonnie Blackbird.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look for that picture.
Okay.
And we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, by the way, if you would like to subscribe, I've had a lot of people ask, to Cow Pies and Coffee Cups, my weekly blog, just go to zebbell.com and you'll find all the information on there as to how to get the blog, and leave your address so you can get it. Right now, the blog is going out to, I think, about 18 states and literally thousands and thousands of recipients. So we'll get your name on the list and we'll take care of it. Cowboys and Coffee Cups. There I go. I couldn't remember the name. Anyway, tomorrow morning on the program, we're going to have Jack Euler. We're going to have Dr. History. We're going to have Kyle Olson, noted education specialist. He's going to be on the program, among others. And you, if you call in. Zeb at the Ranch for today, the way things were, the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Goodbye, everybody.